Welcome, everyone, to another edition of the Irish Breakdown podcast. This is Budweiser's Weekday Sportsbeat, along with irishbreakdown.com. I'm Vince D'Addario, along with Jesse Stiers, and we are with you today because the esteemed Sean Stiers is en route to Georgia because the ACC women's basketball tournament is in Georgia. It's in a suburb of Atlanta, which I honestly, off the top of my head, cannot remember exactly where that is. Let's see. It's in Duluth, Georgia. The Gas South Arena is where the ACC women's basketball tournament is. And obviously, Notre Dame will tip off on Thursday at 1:30 right here on WSBT Radio. And so you can hear it all right here then. And then Sean will hustle back to the hotel to join us on the show at that time, probably around 5:30, 5:45, kind of fill us in on how everything went, and we'll go from there. But today, he is traveling along with the other big party that is headed down to the ACC championship. And Jesse, before we jump into the breaking news that we do have, how you doing today on a Tuesday?
Doing pretty good so far.
Okay.
It is a little bit dreary here. It's like this mix of, a little bit of snow flurries, but also rain at the same time. So, not ideal out, but hey, it's a Tuesday.
Yeah,
I'm here, so I got no complaints.
You are here. I hear that you guys pulled a bit of an upset on Saturday.
We did pull a bit of an upset.
Just a rumor.
Remember, I was complaining on Friday about this. We ended up winning that game by 4 points. Massive upset. And Vince, we came out, mind you, this is 12U, so I got it like a couple 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds, 12-year-olds. We come out, the other team is playing a full-on 2-3 zone with a trap on the ball as we're coming down the court. So about 2 possessions in, Coach and I take a quick little timeout. We see that they're running zone here, and so we're like, you know what? Let's mix this up a little bit. We had a bit of a size advantage, and so we just started running pick and rolls at the top of the key. As soon as they doubled our point guard or whoever the ball handler was, we had our big come set a screen as soon as they trapped, meaning that someone was going to be, 2 on 1 and leaving the other guy open. And so our big would just roll to the rim, and we'd play basically a 2-man game, and then we'd put up a shot, and we told everyone else to crash the boards because we had size advantage. And so we grabbed a lot of offensive rebounds, a lot of second chance shots. We ended up winning the game, and we were pretty proud about it. We made some adjustments. We ended up going up by 10 at one point, and then they could start pressing. So the press got us a little bit. It got down to a tie game with about 2 minutes left. And then we made 2 baskets at the end to close the deal. So I just remember at one point we ran a really smooth pick and roll, and the ref even looked over at us, was like, "That was nice." And I was like, "Yeah, it was." And then also the other coach, he knows the rules, and I know he knows the rules. He was so upset that he started to try to trap us at the beginning of the second half, and you can't start pressing until there's 8 minutes left in the second half. And so I literally looked over at him. I was like, "Dude, what are you doing? You know the rules here." But that's how far in his head we were, that he thought he could start trapping us, and we didn't know the rules of when you could start trapping. Pressing, full court pressing.
Just paying rent. Just paying rent right in his head. So you talking trash to 10-year-olds. That's all I heard you say is that
we won, Vince, and that's all that matters. We beat the Grinders. They're a travel team. We practice once a week. We got the job done. I give all the credit to my assistant coach. We called the timeout. We drew up some plays, and we made some stuff happen.
You crack me up, dude. Teddy 30K wants to know who won the fight in the parking lot, because I feel like there probably was one.
No fights.
Okay.
Vince, you asked me last week about if I sweat. It's funny. I had not sweat more than what I sweat this last Saturday. I got home and my shirt was drenched underneath my sweatshirt, or quarter zip. And I mean drenched, because the whole game I was just pacing. I was up and down. I was yelling, hands up, get your hands up.
Oh yeah, that's a classic yell at that age. Hands
Yeah.
up when you're on defense. Hands up.
Yes, they all want to guard with their hands
Yes.
in them.
Hands in the air.
And then the ref was like, if your kid two-hand pushes someone one more time, I'm gonna have to give him a technical foul. And I was like, okay, I appreciate the heads up.
Thanks
but
for
then
the
I had to
warning.
yell at him. I said, hey, hands up, no more, we can't be hand checking here.
That's right. All right. So now that we got that out of the way, because we did have to cover that. That had to be covered.
Breaking news.
I'm sorry, we had to cover that. We do have some actual breaking news that it concerns Notre Dame. And we've been talking about it a lot on this show because Sean is the lead. This is his show, and he is the play-by-play voice of women's basketball at Notre Dame. And so we have been talking about Player of the Year in the ACC and who should win that and all of those things. And the ballots were due at noon yesterday. Well, at 5 o'clock Eastern, so 11 minutes ago, we got the official
breaking
word.
Of the breaking news.
This is about as breaking as it gets. We got word, we got the email that Hannah Hidalgo from Notre Dame, the junior guard, has in fact been chosen as the 2025-26 ACC Player of the Year. And then on top of that, she also won Defensive Player of the Year. And so if there was any doubt, if anybody was worried that she wasn't going to win that award, that can now be put to rest. She is officially the Player of the Year and the Defensive Player of the Year, and that comes with some interesting notes. And so I'll just go through those because obviously the email comes just chock full of nuggets, if you will. Yeah, lots of goodies. It says Hidalgo becomes the first player in ACC history to win both Player of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year in consecutive seasons. On the offensive end, the Merchantville, New Jersey native leads the conference and ranks third nationally in scoring at 25.2 points per game. On January 22nd, she became the fastest player in ACC history to reach 2,000 career points. Hidalgo currently ranks second among active Division I players in total points with 2,281, and a mark that ranks 12th on the ACC's all-time scoring list. On Monday, she won her 7th ACC Player of the Week award, the most in single season in conference history. On the defensive side, Hidalgo has recorded 162 steals this season, the second most in ACC history. She is currently 3 steals shy of breaking the ACC single season record set by former Virginia standout Donna Holt in, wait for it, 1987. Okay, It's been a minute. Her 162 steals this season are more than the combined total of 15 Division I teams this year. Let that sink in for a second. Her steals individually, 162 of them, are more than the total steals for 15 Division I teams this year. Okay. This marks the third straight season Hidalgo has won Defensive Player of the Year, joining Duke's Elizabeth Williams as the only player in league history to win the award in 3 consecutive seasons. And again, I will remind everyone out there, she's a junior. So she could very well win the Defensive Player of the Year award as a senior, and then she could also win Player of the Year again as a senior for the third time, which, of course, she would be the only person in ACC history to do that. So congratulations to Hannah Hidalgo, Player of the Year, well-deserved, and frankly, not a surprising announcement, Jesse.
No, not surprising. And a couple more, just nuggets to drop in here. The guard is the 11th player in league history to earn multiple ACC Player of the Year honors, and the second to be named ACC Defensive Player of the Year 3 times. In terms of Notre Dame history, she's the first player to earn the ACC top honor multiple times, and is the fourth to receive the honor, joining Jewel Lloyd, Kayla McBride, who won in the coaches poll, and Brianna Turner. Hidalgo becomes the first player in ACC history to win Player of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year in back-to-back seasons. And then to top that all off, Kassan Prosper earned second-team All-ACC honors and was named the ACC Most Improved Player. So a lot of accolades to go around for the Notre Dame team. Well, not a lot, but obviously they
2 players.
They won they got the ones that mattered the most, and I think it was very encouraging to see Kassan Prosper's improvement, not only to be second team, but to be recognized as the ACC basically, most improved player for the season. So Vince, when I look at all of this, I just have a question I want to ask you.
All right.
What do you think the resurgence of the women's basketball team in the last 2 to 3 weeks, Notre Dame getting to the 20-win mark. I think they've won maybe 5 or 6 straight. They've bounced themselves all the way up to the 5th seed in the ACC.
Yeah.
Do you think that this run played a part in it? Do you think that Hannah would have had a much more difficult time had they, maybe finished at 17 wins, 18 wins? Or do you think that she is by far, the best player, regardless of how Notre Dame kind of finished in this last stretch of the season?
Well, I think the argument, what they were attempting to make the argument that somebody else would have deserved player of the year because Notre Dame was in like 10th, 9th or 10th place in the ACC. And for whatever reason, people seem to think that the player of the year can only come from a team that's at the top of the standings, which is ridiculous, right?
Yeah, that's the MVP award.
Right. This run made it a moot point, basically, because Notre Dame put themselves in position to be the 5th seed, which obviously is the top quarter of the league. And so that argument kind of lost steam, right? I mean, it lost its legs because Notre Dame played so well and Hannah Hidalgo played so well. Like, it became a situation where there was no doubt who the best player in the league was with the way that she was playing. And it also, a microcosm of things were on Sunday, where Hannah Hidalgo led her team, an unranked team, to a top 10 victory over Louisville at Louisville on her back, on her shoulders, with a steal at the very end, which is what she's known for, right?
And she sealed that game with that steal.
100%. And at the same time, the gal from Duke, who everybody was bringing up as the possibility to take those player of the year accolades away from Hannah Hidalgo, Toby Fournier, she didn't have a great game that day, and Duke lost to their rival in North Carolina. So, like, I just think that was kind of the cherry on top. I still think Hannah was going to win it. I still think she deserved to win it. But any argument that there was that, the team needed to be in the upper echelon of the conference, that, they're just not good enough, and all of these different things, she put the team on her shoulders, put the team on her back, and went and beat Louisville and beat them in, legitimately on their floor
with their best player,
with and Duke, and yeah, she picked the pocket of the best player, right? And then Fournier just couldn't do it on that particular day. So I just think that was a microcosm of why Hannah deserved to be the player of the year and why Fournier deserved to be in the first team, but not the player of the year. And that pick that she had was absolutely legit. I mean, it was such a great rip on that steal. I mean, it was all ball, and then she's running around the court trying to kill time and all those things. Like, that was a bookmark moment. You know what I mean? Like, that's a highlight moment. That's one you're going to go back to. It was a big moment for Notre Dame this year. It's a big moment for her, and I would just honestly put the exclamation point on her player of the year in the regular season.
Yeah, Vince, I think it was, I know that you probably watched most of that game like I did on TV because it was on ESPN2. It was really nice during the broadcast to hear the kind of national presence of the ESPN, broadcasters basically saying Hannah Hidalgo is the best player on the court, and it's not even close. Just in terms of what she brings to the team offensively, and then of course defensively is too. Like, there was a stretch down towards the end where Louisville regained the league and Hannah had to come out for a little bit. And as soon as she came in, Louisville stopped scoring and Notre Dame went on like an 8-0 run to essentially win that game. So it was just that Louisville game was the bow on top because it was Hannah Hidalgo in one package. You saw the point scoring, you saw the rebounding, you saw the assists, you saw the steals, you saw the great defensive presence. Like, she, and this is a little bit of an exaggeration, but she got close to a quadruple double in points, rebounds, assists, and steals. And I remember them at one point saying, how does Hannah have 8 rebounds? She's 5'6" and the smallest person on the court. I think that's everything you need to know about Hannah Hidalgo and the tempo that she plays at and how much she takes pride in all aspects of her game outside of just scoring the ball. So if there's one person that I know is really upset, it's Jeff Walz, the Louisville head coach, because not only did Hannah Hidalgo springboard and win the ACC Player of the Year, he couldn't seal the ACC regular season championship on his home court after Duke gave them a freaking blessing and losing earlier that day, Vince. All they had to do was win, and I believe they would have gotten a share of the ACC championship.
Mm-hmm.
There's a long history going back to when Van Lith was at Louisville. Louisville and Notre Dame do not get along, and I know Jeff Walz is not a fan of Notre Dame. So for me, I loved that Notre Dame not only won that game, took the ACC regular season championship game away from Louisville, but Hannah Hidalgo gets to seal her ACC Player of the Year on Louisville's home court. So I thought there was no better way to end the season. And quite honestly, who would want to face the Notre Dame women right now? Ever since getting KK Bransford back, I think the rotation, after having to pick up, a couple of portal players this offseason, getting a little bit healthy, Kassan Prosper developing into her role, I think this is a really legit team that, I'm not setting the stage for like Final Four or anything crazy like that. But, I think this is a team that could very, very easily make the Sweet 16 and provide a really great matchup at the Sweet 16 too. And I don't think anyone would want to play Notre Dame, considering that they have, one of the best players, not only in the ACC, but probably in the entire country. And you're seeing a team that is in way better form and synchronization these last 3 weeks of the season.
So you had mentioned that Kassan Prosper won Most Improved Player, and there's a paragraph here about her, and I don't want to leave her out, so I want to go ahead and read this to everybody, kind of give you an idea of what she was able to do this year. Prosper, who entered the 25-26 season without recording a career double-double, has posted 6 this year. The Montreal, Quebec, Canada native, who averaged just 5.8 points per game in her first 3 seasons, ranks second on the team at 14.1 points a game. In ACC play, Prosper averaged 13.3 points and ranks 9th in the conference with 46.9 shooting percentage. She becomes the first Notre Dame player to win the Most Improved Player award. So congratulations to her, obviously, and then also garnering second team recognition is Cass Prosper. So she's all ACC second team. The interesting thing, Jesse, and I was realizing this as I was going through the email, there are 2 different sets of awards that they have posted. The first one is voted on by what they call the Blue Ribbon Panel, which makes them sound very, very important. And I believe your father is on that Blue Ribbon Panel. I know, right? I mean,
everyone give 2 claps to the the blue panel ribbon there.
I mean, holy cow, right? So
I need to put that on my resume.
I'm just saying, that is a resume booster right there. I believe Hannah won the Player of the Year award by a decent margin. Let's see here. I believe she won by 61 points, which is fantastic. She was also unanimously on the ACC first team, obviously, along with Toby Fournier from Duke, Kamora Johnson from Virginia, Camille Pierre from NC State, Zoe Brooks from NC State, Uche Ezoje from Syracuse, Laura Ziegler from Louisville, Tana Mayer from Duke, Rashaya Kyle from Miami, Talia Walker from Georgia Tech. And so basically what they do is you vote for these players. Top 10 vote getters are on the first team. Next 10, so 11 through 20, are on the second team. And then, of course, they also have the all-defensive team that Hannah Hidalgo is on. She garnered 326 points. The next closest was 215. Like there's just one of those no-doubter type situations for the all-defensive team. And then there was an all-freshman team. Obviously, nobody from Notre Dame made that. And then Kara Lawson from Duke ended up winning the Coach of the Year. Jeff Walz from Louisville came in second, significantly behind Kara Lawson, since Duke won the ACC outright. So I think that was one of the reasons that she got that. And then Amari Berry from Louisville will get the 6th Player of the Year. So those are the Blue Ribbon Panel awards for the ACC women's basketball team for this season. Now we jump into ACC tournament play, and the whole thing kicks off, I do believe, tomorrow is the first round. You've got Miami and Stanford at 11. You've got Cal. It just says 15. Oh, Wake Forest at 1:30. Georgia Tech, Florida State at 4. And then all those winners will move on to Thursday, and that is when Notre Dame will play at 1:30 tomorrow on the ACC network. They get the winner of the 12-13 game, Miami and Stanford. So keep your eye out on the Irish to see what they can do in the ACC tournament. Again, that is down at Gas South Arena in Duluth, Georgia. And I'd be lying if I said I knew where Duluth, Georgia is. I assume it is a suburb of Atlanta, Jesse. I'm not 100% sure on that. So Salty is giving me a hard time. He says there's no chance you pronounce that name correctly. You're absolutely right. I'm just going off of a list that I have. And so it is what it is. So I'm guessing none of their family members are listening. And so I apologize to all of them. So when you don't know how to pronounce something,
Vince, you are correct. Duluth is on the northeast side of Atlanta. It looks like, if my mental scaling here is correct, I'd say it's about an hour to an hour and a half outside of Atlanta.
Ooh.
But kind of going back to what we were talking about here, I think the women are poised to make a little run here in the tournament and remind everyone who Notre Dame is, because Notre Dame women have been atop the ACC for, the last decade, or I don't even know if they've been in the ACC the last decade consecutively, but the point still stands. When you think of ACC women's basketball, you think of Notre Dame consistently at the top. I think they've repositioned themselves at the top, gotten on a little hot streak here, but there's really that, and you can't take for granted that potential Miami-Stanford matchup, because Stanford's a really good team. But if Notre Dame plays how they're supposed to, I see a team that, again, could go on and win this whole thing. So I have them at least making the semifinals, and I'll even go out to say I think they're going to make the ACC championship game at this tournament.
Well, it's going to be tough. I will say that. I have full faith that they'll win on Thursday. I have full faith that they'll win on Friday. They've already beaten NC State in the regular season. But then they get Duke, right? They get Duke in the semis. That's going to be a tough out. Obviously, they're the number one team in the ACC. So that'll be a tough game on Saturday. That's noon on ESPN2. So tune in, cheer on the Irish. Let's, turn down the volume on your TV, turn up the Odyssey app, or turn on WSBT radio. You got Sean Stiers with the call. That's what you're going to want to listen to. That's going to be a tough game. I mean, bottom line, that's going to be a tough one. And then if they can get past Duke, then they'll probably either have Louisville or North Carolina, both teams of which they have beaten already this year. So, you're right. They got a great opportunity to make some noise here. And then we have to wait a week to find out where they will end up in the NCAA tournament. They're a lock at this point, so no worries there. We get to see what happens in the tournament and see where Sean Stiers, where his passport's going to get stamped next as he jets off. They're actually at the airport right now getting ready to go to the Atlanta area, the Duluth, Georgia area. And, apparently they're going to have a decent bus ride after that, because I'm guessing they're going to fly into Atlanta and then they're going to have to drive out to Duluth. So, good luck to that.
You think that's where Duluth underwear is made? You ever seen those commercials?
Duluth Trading, whatever company. It's possible. Yeah. But there's a Duluth, like Idaho, or like, I think there's a couple of Duluths out there, but I will plead ignorance on those kinds of things. So, but anyway, we are at the bottom of the hour. We are going to take a break. When we come back, we had a chance to sit down and talk to Noah Grubbs, Notre Dame's newest quarterback that is probably in class at practice, one of those things. We got a bunch of cuts from him, so we'll talk about some of that when we come back. We'll have that locked and loaded. You are listening to Budweiser's Weekday Sports Beat, along with IrishBreakdown.com. Welcome back to Budweiser's Weekday Sportsbeat along with IrishBreakdown.com. I'm Vince D'Addario. Jesse Stiers is along for the ride in the old sidecar, and we are talking some Notre Dame football. We just got done talking about Notre Dame basketball. We will revisit that just a bit at the top of the 6 o'clock hour, but we are turning the page. We're going to talk a little Notre Dame football. Again, media had a chance to sit down with Noah Grubbs, Notre Dame's newest quarterback that is now on campus. He's a early enrollee freshman. And let's see here. Oh, you're moving it around. I didn't know where things were. There we go. Let's see. Freshman early enrollee quarterback Noah Grubbs is one of more than 25 freshmen who are enrolled and who will practice with the Irish this spring. And we got to talk to him for the first time last week, and we have a few of his thoughts to talk about today. And so, obviously, a lot of freshmen coming in, 25 early enrolling. That's crazy.
It's a lot, Vince.
That is a ton. That's like an entire recruiting class.
Doesn't that show you, though, how excited these guys are to play Notre Dame football and to be a part of the Marcus Freeman experience? Because that's what it boils down to. You don't have early enrollees unless guys are 100% bought in and they want to, they feel the steam engine gaining momentum and they're like, you know what? I need to get in before this thing takes off without me.
It is amazing how things have changed so drastically in the last 20 years as far as early enrollees, specifically at Notre Dame. There was a time where they could only do like 2 or 3 or whatever the cap was when Charlie Weiss got here, and everybody was amazed that he was even able to, make that happen. And now it's basically everybody's coming in early, and it's more weird if you don't, if you're a summer enrollee. So 25 guys came in. They asked him, what is it like with all these freshmen?
I feel like we built a great relationship through recruiting already before we even got here. So like all the coaches could realize whenever we were in like the freshman lifts before we joined the other group, they could tell like we already had that bond together. We were already close together because of all the official visit that we all came on. And like I think almost everyone committed from that official visit besides one person. And now most of us are here. So we built the relationship before, and now just getting here and just building the bond even more and growing together as a team.
All right, Jesse, what does that say to you as far as his relationship with the other recruits that are in his class?
Yeah, it's a bit astonishing when he brings up the fact that all these guys did their official visit together and pretty much all of them signed as a collective group. And so I think that not only do you want to hit on a recruit that is right for Notre Dame, but you also want your recruits to get along as well, right? Like it shows something to me that these guys are already building bonds, relationships, and really trusting in one another that they're all making the right decision collectively to go to Notre Dame together. And so I just think it really highlights Notre Dame's excellence in recruiting right now, that not only are you getting top end recruits, but you're getting them to come in bunches and you're getting them to come together early and establish those relationships, trust, and continuing to build the culture that Notre Dame has, I guess, forged upon over these last, 3-4 seasons with Marcus Freeman as head coach.
Well, we have seen in the past how important it is to have kind of, somebody leading the charge for each recruiting class. And usually that's
you kind of have like a captain. Like that was Drake Bowen, I'm pretty sure, in his class. Like he was the guy like, hey, we're all going to Notre Dame,
Right. And that was definitely CJ Carr in his class.
Correct.
And it was definitely Noah Grubbs in this class. You know what I mean? And so I love that. That's the kind of leader that you want at the quarterback position.
I was going to say, you're already kind of separating yourself as like a leader to be, captain to be. So sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good. I mean, that's exactly right. I mean, you're already, I don't want to say pecking order, but you're kind of establishing, like who's the alpha dog here? You know what I mean? And Noah Grubbs committed early, and he was also committed to making this one of the best classes in Notre Dame history, and he was successful at doing it. And so, these guys have known each other for years, which is such a weird thing to say when you're talking about a group of 18-year-olds, probably some younger than that, coming into college when they're supposed to be getting ready for prom. You know what I mean? And so it's just a great experience, and obviously they're going to get a leg up having spring ball right around the corner.
Yeah, and I think that when day one hits, it's no longer the awkwardness of or Vince. I'll even be honest with you. Like when I came in as a freshman in college on the football team,
Yeah.
My position group, I kind of hated because I was like, you're the guys that I'm competing with, like
Sure.
you're the people that I'm trying to beat out for a starting spot. And, over time, yeah, I became friends with some of them, but there's still to this day some people where I'm just like, I really don't like you. And it revolved around, spring practice and just trying to get a leg up on one another, trying to get more reps than the other guy, trying to get, noticed more out of the entire group. And so when you can hit the ground running day one and kind of forego, I guess, that animosity.
Right.
And I get it. Not all of them play the same position, so that helps. But there's just it eliminates kind of that awkward, getting to know each other time. And then you hear stuff about how Grubbs has already been throwing with some wide receivers, in the summers and stuff. It's like they're not going to miss a beat. Yes, they're going to have to learn the Notre Dame system, the Notre Dame playbook, but everything else is going to be ahead of schedule. Once they get to Notre Dame, it's just, okay, nothing but ball. Let me learn this playbook and let me, establish myself essentially.
So here we sit on March 3rd. And like I said, we've got spring practice right around the corner. About 3 weeks to go until we hit spring practice officially for Notre Dame. March 20th is when is the first practice. And so Noah was asked, and he hasn't even been to an actual practice yet, but he was asked about the speed of the game and how that's different than high school. And here's what he had to say.
Faster, not even just on the field, but in the weight room, classes, everything, all the days, everything moves much faster, but it's starting to slow down a bit, starting to get more comfortable and settled in, so that's good.
I think that he is going to have, I agree with him. College is obviously completely different than high school. You're getting up, you're going to classes, you're going to, your workouts, you're doing all the different things. And you got a lot of time to kind of figure out what you're going to be doing and how you want to prioritize. And that's a lot to take in when you first get there. So he is probably settling in right about now. He's about a month and a half in. Things are starting to be normal, things like that. Like, where's the cafeteria? All of those different things, right? Where's the dining hall? Then practice is going to start. And I have a feeling things are going to wind back up for him again. Jess, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a little bit easy to come in and when they're coming in, it's the summertime or it's the springtime, right? And so it is not in terms of that relation between college and high school. I think things are definitely going to speed up for them once the fall camp starts, once the actual season starts, but right now, I mean, I think it feels like it's a little bit, slower, but like you said, like the academic schedule is going to kick in. You're going to be like, all right, I need to make it all the way across campus. And then I got to run all the way over here for conditioning. And then I got to run all the way over here back to classes and then run back here for film and then run back for actual, it is a lot faster. And until the actual academia side of things start, I don't think you get a true picture of quite frankly, how fast-paced, the college environment is.
Sure. Yeah, no doubt about it. So it'll be interesting to see once he starts having spring ball. And spring ball is obviously different than the summer, and it's obviously different than, fall ball and things like that. And, a lot of fall is before school starts. And so it's just football. It's the only thing that you have to worry about, But the interesting part is with spring ball now, the competition is obviously different than it was last year. Last year, it was who's going to be QB1, who's going to, be leading the Irish in 2025. Well, we got that answered. It was CJ Carr. It was a long battle. Kenny Minchie ends up being QB number 2, and then he ends up transferring out. Not overly surprising, right? He wants to play. Well, now the major competition in the quarterback room isn't for QB1, it's for QB number 2. And it is going to be a 4-man race from what it sounds like. And Noah was asked his thoughts on QB2.
To just be consistent every day, come in, just dedicate myself to the playbook. And obviously it's all new to me. Coming in, new transition to the quarterback's never been easy. But just expecting that it's going to be hard and just working through all the challenges and just building a brotherhood with all the people in the room. I think that's what I do. Yeah, I think it's a great opportunity. It's competition every day between me, Blake, CJ, everyone that's coming in. Teddy's coming in. I look at it as a great opportunity to compete, and I love to wake up in the morning and just be able to compete every day.
Does he not already sound like a Notre Dame guy? Like, I mean, that is such a Notre Dame answer when they ask
I
him
think
about
he sounds
competition.
very mature for someone who's should probably be in their junior year of high school, right? Because didn't he reclassify too?
That's the other kid that's coming in.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
no,
But
he's
anyways, like
senior
regardless.
year. Still, like, dude, I talk to real immature seniors every day. So like I totally understand where you're coming from.
I just think that, he has the perfect mindset, Vince, because if you're coming in, like I'm not kidding you, and you know this, at any level of football, there's guys who come in day one who think that they're going to be the starter, that they that they think they're going to overtake CJ Carr, become this starting quarterback, da 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 da. I think he's got the perfect mindset of knowing where he fits in realistically and how he can compete to earn that spot, and so if that means he's fighting for the number 2 spot, the number 3 spot, I think he's got a great head on his shoulders and a great mindset of, okay, I know I'm not going to beat CJ Carr. I'm going to try like heck to, but at the end of the day, I'm probably not going to beat out CJ Carr. And so what can I do to better this team and myself going forward? And that's learning the playbook, that's competing and pushing the entire quarterback room and hopefully earning that quarterback 2 spot.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with how you carry yourself. Can you lead? Can you command the huddle, right? I mean, can you command the huddle at 18? You know what I mean? Like, that's a question.
I think it comes with confidence, and
Absolutely.
confidence comes with clarity, and clarity comes with knowing your playbook.
Yeah, no, 100%. And so, he's going to have to dive into that, obviously. And guess what, Jesse? God, you're like a champion of segues. Our next cut, someone asked him about the playbook. Here's his response.
I would say the biggest challenge is just like getting out of things when they're not good, because in high school, I mean, you get one thing and you're running that. I would say that's the biggest difference. So I just got to get used to that and just get more reps of that, and we'll be good. It's much bigger, and then like I said, like there's a bunch of different versions of the same thing, and I'd say that's one of the biggest challenges as well. And then just from there, like you can't just know the play. You got to know who you're looking for, what you're looking for, pre-snap, post-snap, and everything like that.
Obviously, Jesse, you went from high school to college, from the linebacker position, even on the defensive side of the football, going from a high school playbook to a college playbook overnight. What kind of transition is that?
It's tough. It's complex. There's a lot of layers to it. There's things that you're now reading that you never knew you should have been reading before. / also, why was I never taught this before? Right. That's honestly, I think the biggest thing I think about, Vince, is I wish I would have known my keys in high school that I did in college, because I could have even moved more efficiently in college if I knew, in high school if I kind of knew what I was looking for, right? Like in high school, we were basically kind of like a gap defense, like everyone kind of had a gap and you were just going there regardless. In college, it became more reading. It became more formationally aware, understanding in certain formations certain things are coming. You start looking at splits of the wide receivers, the running backs, like everything comes, under scrutiny. And I know it's definitely not the same, but the linebacker position is basically the quarterback position of the defense, because you have to know everything else around you. You need to know what your defensive linemen are doing. You need to know what your secondary is doing. You need to know your run fit, your pass fit, all of those things. And so to me, it sounds like for Grubbs, it's okay, Howard plays multiple, meaning we're giving the same look, but can run multiple different plays off of it. And then also he talked about, in high school, you get a play and you run a play. Well, now in college, you're reading, and every offensive call usually comes with 2 plays, depending on what look you're getting. And so he's got to be able to take those calls. He's got to read pre-snap what's going on. He's got to be able to audible or change into, what the better look is. Compared to high school, you get the call, you snap the ball, and you run the play, right? And so That's a really big difference for him at the end of the day. And I think that's going to be the hardest part, is understanding what's going on pre-snap, being able to get into the right play call or the most advantageous play call, and just going from there.
Yeah, I mean, I've been an offensive coordinator, obviously, at the high school level. I know what our playbook looked like. I can only imagine what a college playbook actually physically looks like. Now they're all on iPads and stuff now, obviously, but like if you printed everything out and you stacked up the paper and you compared one to the other, it's not even a competition. You know what I mean? Because now in college, like you said, you're not just getting the play, running the play, getting another play, running that play, and just repetition, repetition, repetition. There's nuances to the play. There's different motions. There's different formations of the same play and different ways to do it. RPOs, all these different things. And yes, in high school, there are some RPOs and some things of that nature, not anywhere near as complex as in the college game. And this is a pro style offense, so it is so much more. And I can't even imagine not having a summer to kind of dive into the playbook before you get to fall practice. Like, hey man, you got 6 weeks. Here's the playbook. You can do some 7-on-7s and some things like that with your guys. But when we get to practice, I expect you to know this, this, and this, and we'll kind of build on it from there on. You know what I mean? Like, there is so much for him to know from a playbook standpoint that, especially if he wants to be QB2, like you're one play away from running the first offense. And so it's one thing to come in and be the third or fourth string and you can just kind of figure it out as you go and, things like that. If you're competing to be QB2, you better have a handle on some things where
they don't just hand out QB2 for the heck of it.
This is what I'm saying. Like, you have to kind of know, you got to know your stuff. Not kind of, you do have to know your stuff because the coaches have to be confident enough in you to hand over the starting offense, if something happens to CJ Carr. Like, that's pretty major.
Well, Vince, especially considering, like, I hate to use the E word, but the expectations for next season, if someone needed to step in of the place of CJ Carr, that's a big deal because you got to pass the baton like nothing's changing, And so QB2, I get it, 90% of their life, it doesn't matter. But that 10%, when they're called upon, it sure matters. I'll tell you that.
No doubt about it. Yeah, no doubt about it. So, obviously, Noah's going into his first spring at Notre Dame. Someone asked him, what are your priorities for spring practice?
Well, I'd say just protections, protection-wise playbook, just learn how to protect myself. I think that's one of the most important things. And then non-football related, just school, just get good grades, be a good student, be a good person in the Notre Dame community.
Sounds pretty basic. When you're coming in as an early enrollee, I guess that kind of makes sense. Just, hey, keep your head down, stay focused, get in there, do the best that you can. I forgot about
handle the academics.
I forgot about protections, like part of learn. Like, I'm going to say that you could probably count on one hand how many high school quarterbacks are calling out protections, in high school. You know what I mean? So, like, that's
but in college, you're not trying to get freaking smoked, because the first time you forget your protection, I know they're not going to let you get hit in practice. So he won't actually know what that feels like until potentially a game time situation. But yeah, I think having an understanding of how to protect yourself first and foremost is definitely, it would be on the top of my list as well. But when you hear him kind of talk there about academics, putting your head down, we heard Marcus Freeman talk about when they're recruiting, they're looking for a Notre Dame person, right? They're not going to force someone to be kind of what they're looking for, to be a student athlete at Notre Dame. But when you hear him talk and you hear him give a response like that, it just, to me, kind of solidifies what Marcus Freeman talks about. And we are looking for a Notre Dame type of guy. We're not looking for someone to force into the Notre Dame mold. And I think he's a textbook definition of what it means in terms of what they're looking for in recruits.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think that his answer was spot on. I mean, yeah, these are the football things that I'm going to work on, but I also have class. I also, want to be a good person. I want to keep doing that. Like, that all makes sense. It all trickles down from Marcus Freeman for sure. He has heard the Marcus Freeman mantra, I think, for a while now, and even though he hasn't been on campus. And I think he is becoming a Notre Dame, player under Marcus Freeman. And this is what they sound like. We've heard a lot of audio clips from guys like Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price and, Emil Wagner and all these different guys at the combine, like they all sound the same, all their priorities are all the same. It's team first. It's, keeping my head down, getting to work, all of these different things. And you're even hearing that from these early enrollee freshmen, so I'm excited to see what Noah Grubbs has to offer when he gets out there, in spring ball on March 20th and see where he goes and see where he is at the beginning of spring ball to the end of spring ball, because that's going to be a huge growth point for him. That's for sure. Not surprisingly, Noah has gotten some advice from quarterbacks in his life, and here's what he has to say about that.
They've done a lot for me. Just that's what's really helped me in this transition. Just the older people like Blake and CJ, just giving me the wisdom that since they've been in my position, been in my spot, just everything through progression, reads, like playbook wise, but even just like life stuff. Just take everything step by step.
So you talked about it being difficult when you not difficult, but you saw your team, your room as like the competition, which makes perfect sense. It sounds like in this case, the older guys are looking out for the new guys, and they're, we've heard that the quarterback room has been close at Notre Dame. It sounds like that is continuing.
Yeah, I have to give kudos or props to the quarterback room because it sounds like healthy competition 24/7. It sounds like, they're all buddies and get along well. I wish that I would have had that same experience, but at the end of the day, I don't know if that's just because of playing for a smaller school, not playing a quarterback or a position like quarterback. But let's just say, there was a time my freshman
sounds like
year
story
spring
time
ball,
here, Jesse Stiers.
And our coach would consistently say, depending on formation and look, our heels had to be at a certain depth, whether that was 4 yards, 5 yards, 3 yards. We had a guy who was more athletic than I was taller than I was faster than I was, but he consistently could never line up in the right spot, ever. And our coach would rip him every single time. So do you think that in spring ball, when I notice that he's in the wrong spot, do you think I'm yelling at him to get in the right spot? No
Absolutely
chance.
not.
No chance. And I finished above him on the depth chart. And a lot of that was just because of, again, what I lacked athleticism wise, I made up for mentally and strategically, knowing, where to place myself, listening to my coaches and all that stuff. So I commend these guys because it's hard. It's not malicious, but it's really hard to provide. And it's probably easier for CJ Carr because he knows he's going to be the starter, right?
Sure. Yeah.
But
right.
It's so hard and again, really kind of noteworthy that these guys are helping each other out in a way when they're all competing for the same spot at the end of the day.
Well, it's interesting that you say that. My son told me a very similar story when he was out. There's obviously multiple kickers on the team, and he was out kicking with one of the guys, and he noticed kind of a little hitch in what the other guy was doing, and he's like, all he has to do is do this, and like his ball is going to go further, and it's going to have a better spin. And I go, well, did you tell him? He goes, no. He goes, I'm not telling him how to get better. I was like,
how to beat me out.
I was like, okay, I get that. Makes sense. But like they're still buddies off the field. He's just not going to tell him how to fix his swing, Like I get that. Okay. I can respect that, But yeah, I think the quarterback room is pretty tight. And you're right. It is easier for CJ Carr to help the guys under him because his position isn't threatened at the moment. But we were getting reports all along last year that he and Kenny, in the spring and in the fall were best of friends and, all these different things. And so I think some of that is manufactured, but I think there's obviously some truth to that as well.
Yeah. I mean, they're friends. They don't hate each other, but
and they're together.
Again,
all
practice
the time.
Is different. Once you're on the field, you're a different kind of competitor.
Absolutely. All right. We're almost to the top of the hour. We got one more cut from Noah Grubbs. He met with the media here very recently, and he was asked specifically about CJ Carr. Here's what he had to say.
I feel like CJ is a great guy, obviously. He's very cool, calm, collective. I feel like he stays in the moment. He keeps his feet in that moment right there, and he takes advantage of every single opportunity he gets. But he's helped me a lot throughout the quarterback room. and life in general, and just like hanging out with me outside of football, because I mean, like, obviously being new here, like, you're still getting used to everything, and I feel like he's really take that leadership role in me and helped me a lot.
All right, what does that tell you?
What that tells me is that CJ Carr is, they always tell you at work, you usually have someone above you that's mentoring you. There's always a mentor and mentee situation, right? As you're climbing up the chains, you always got someone who's mentoring you. You're always a mentee, and then you're probably mentoring the person below you, right? And so they always say, you're training your replacement. That's exactly what this feels like, in my opinion. I think, if we're being honest, who do we think has a better chance to replace CJ Carr, Blake or Noah? I personally would say Noah, just based off of skill wise and stuff that I've seen. And so when you can get the starter to take you under his wing, to be your like big brother, to kind of show you around, hey, here's the cafeteria, hey, here's how we train, hey, here's what I'd like to do in terms of recovery, like that stuff goes a long way for when it's Noah's actual time to step up and be the guy. And so again, to me, it always comes back to, hey, you're training your replacement. I think CJ Carr feels really comfortable where he's at right now, but he always, like most players, you want to leave Notre Dame a better place than when you got here, right? And so he's going to do everything he can to take this team to a national championship, but then he's also going to help prepare Noah to be the guy to take over once CJ Carr's time is done.
There we go. And so we will all see together what the competition looks like for QB2 starting on March 20th, going through spring ball. Highly doubt they name a quarterback 2 coming out of spring ball, but you never know. But we'll probably see that go into fall camp, obviously over the summer, into fall camp as well. We'll all be keeping our eye on it. Let's see who can take it. It'll be a 3-man race. And, we don't have a quarterback competition for QB1, so that's good. We'll see what happens in QB2. So that's Noah Grubbs, the early enrollee freshman who is on campus and will participate in spring ball starting in a couple of weeks. Jesse, thanks for hanging out the first hour. We're going to let you
devised a very nice rapid fire. So
you did. Listen, I don't know what was expected of you at work today or whatever, but you pretty much put the show together today, and I am very appreciative of that. Let me tell you.
There's a lot of variety in that rapid fire. There's Notre Dame football. There's a little bit of World Baseball Classic. There's
all over the place. I
made sure to provide the variety. So I hope you guys enjoy. But I honestly wish I could stay, because a lot of these questions I think are really intriguing. So
tell the people where you're going, because it's kind of cool.
Yeah, going to a coaching clinic. Got invited, so looking forward to doing that.
No, it's not just a coaching clinic. Where are you going?
It's to the Cleveland Cavaliers.
There you go. You got to drop the Cleveland Cavaliers part. Like, come on, man. You got to drop that bit of knowledge.
So a lot of the leagues that I'm with, they're these baseball, basketball, they're affiliated through, the Cavs, the Guardians, all that stuff. And so like baseball is a play ball league. I'm sure people have heard of that before. And so these opportunities kind of arise here and there. And so,
awesome.
Yeah, that's where I'm headed.
All right. Well, with that said, Jesse was nice enough to ask Trevor to come on for the second hour. And so we will have Trevor in here on the other side of the break. And so we're going to get you out of here, Jesse. You are listening to Budweiser's Weekday Sports Beat along with IrishBreakdown.com. Welcome back to Budweiser's Weekday Sportsbeat along with IrishBreakdown.com. And I was just frightened by the fact that I saw my face on the screen. Just scary when it comes back from commercial. And there is just my face right there. I'm Vince D'Addario, along with Trevor Trowbridge. Welcome to the show, my friend. Thank you for hanging out with us the final hour of the broadcast, and we did have some breaking news at the top of the last hour that I do want to revisit. It is official that Hannah Hidalgo is the ACC Player of the Year. That information was released right at 5 o'clock. She is also the Defensive Player of the Year, and Cass Prosper is the. I want to make sure I get her official title correct that she won today. Well, that's not what I wanted. There we go. She is the most improved player. And so awesome for Hannah. This is the first time in ACC history that anyone has won Player of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year, both in back-to-back seasons. And obviously Cass Prosper has had one heck of a season. She was averaging single digits before. Now she's averaging over 14 points a game. So big improvement for her this year. She's been a big reason as to why Notre Dame is doing what they're doing right now. And the reason Sean Stiers is not with us is because he is headed down to the Atlanta area. Duluth, Georgia is where the ACC Women's Championship is taking place. And Notre Dame will have their first game tip off at 1:30 on Thursday. And they will play the winner of Stanford and Miami. And that game tips off tomorrow, I believe, at 1:30 as well. Let me just double check because I don't want to get it completely wrong. No, they're at 11 a.m. So they're the breakfast game. So 11 a.m. is Miami and Stanford. And then the next day, the winner takes on Notre Dame at 1:30 on ACC Network. So you definitely want to tune into that. And then the winner of that game gets NC State at 1:30 on Friday. And so Sean will probably not be on the show at the beginning on Thursday and Friday, but he will join us very soon after when the bus gets back to the hotel, and he can kind of give us a lowdown on what went down in those games. And so we'll all be rooting on the Irish of the 5 seed in the ACC tournament because of their win against Louisville on the road on Sunday. They went from the 9 seed to the 5 seed with that win against top 10 Louisville's, and they also prevented Louisville from getting a share of the ACC regular season championship. So preventing hardware from going to Louisville is always a good day if you're at Notre Dame. So that's the breaking news. Hannah Hidalgo, Player of the Year in the ACC, also the Defensive Player of the Year in the ACC. Cass Prosper, Most Improved Player. So a lot of Notre Dame action. Oh, and then Cass Prosper was also second team All ACC. Of course, Hannah was first team. So that was our breaking news at the top of the 5 o'clock hour, and we wanted to revisit that a little bit. We are going to get into some rapid fire here, Trev. And before we do, why don't you give us just a little bit of a rundown on what you and Brian talked about in the afternoon show that people can go back and watch on YouTube, and then also on the podcast first thing in the morning.
Vince, not to toot our own horn, but it was a fantastic show earlier today.
Yes.
We talked a lot about, really the entire show is about the linebacker room. And we talked through just the outlook of the season, the makeup of the roster. We talked about the expectations for this year, expectations for their new coach, Brian Jean-Marie. And you can find all of that on the Irish Breakdown YouTube channel. And then obviously the best content and the best way to support what we do, boards.irishbreakdown.com. That's where you get all of the exclusive kind of peek behind the curtain, if you will. It's the best way to stay in tune. So all the best ways to find us.
There you go. And we had some talk in the chat about spring ball and kind of when that starts and availability and all of that fun stuff. So spring ball starts on March 20th, and we as the media will be in attendance for that entire practice. We get to see them running around with helmets on. Not that I'm complaining, because it is a full practice. I'll take it. There are a couple of more practices where we will get access at the very beginning, first 4 periods, as well as stretching. And then we will get a full practice the Saturday prior to the Blue Gold game. Specifically, I believe that is the 18th off the top of my head of April. Yeah, 18th of April. And then, of course, the blue gold game on April 25th. We will obviously also get the entire game, practice, whatever. And of course, you can hear that game right here on WSBT Radio, Sports Radio WSBT. Got that backwards. As Sean, myself, and Jesse will have the call of the blue gold game right here on the air. So you want to check that out. If you don't get Peacock, or you just don't want to listen to the guys on Peacock, just turn it down, turn on your radio, and we'll have it for you. So you definitely want to tune into that. So that's kind of spring ball. Obviously, they get 15 practices. They're going to be spread out kind of all over the place, got like 3 practices a week, like that kind of a thing. And as we hear things, as we see things, of course, you can get all that information right here on Budweiser's Weekday Sports Beat, as well as the afternoon show with Trev and Brian over on Irish Breakdown YouTube channel and podcasts and all that fun stuff. So we'll bring you everything. Don't you worry about that. Whether you listen to our show, their show, both shows, all the shows, we really appreciate you guys hanging out. So it's a lot of stuff to talk about at the top of the hour, Trev, before we jump into rapid fire. We do have a bunch of good stuff in here. I will say that Jesse was busy. Just, I don't know where it came from. I started this document. It was absolutely 100% blank. I added some people to it. And then all of a sudden I look back and Jesse has completely filled it in. So these are rapid fire questions courtesy of Jesse Stiers. Are you ready to tackle these, Trevor?
I'm always ready, Vince.
Yes. Okay. All right, here we go. So we've seen a lot of mock drafts post-combine that include Jeremiah Love, Jadarian Price, and Malachi Fields all being drafted in the first round. So we're going to set the over-under at 1.5 Notre Dame players going in the first round. What say you?
I'm going to take the over here. I think one of Jadarian Price or Malachi Fields sneaks up into the first round. I have an inkling it's going to be Jadarian Price, especially after the Seattle Seahawks kind of said that they were open to letting Kenneth Walker go. I thought that was an interesting
wild,
development.
by the way.
Yeah.
After the Super Bowl performance that he just had, that's wild to me. It's wild.
It's crazy, but I could see Jadarian Price. I think he's the number 2 running back in this draft, in my opinion. I think he put on a good showcase down here in Indianapolis for the combine. So, yeah, I'm going to take the over 1.5 because obviously the solidified one's Jeremiah Love. I mean, right. I'm sure we can all agree upon that. So it's just, will one of Jadarian Price or Malachi Fields sneak into the first round? I think Jadarian.
I know that Malachi was probably not super happy with his combine performance, the 40 and some things like that. Obviously, if anybody asked him, I hope he would say, turn on the film, watch what I do on actual football games. Because I think that is obviously very impressive. He's obviously a top flight wide receiver, things like that. I think he could help any team that he goes to. Are you surprised that he's being mocked for some in the first round? Are you surprised by that at all?
To a degree. I mean, he has very proven production at the college level. He played for 5 years. He has like over 2,400 receiving yards. He has like 16 touchdowns. He has like 165 receptions on the year or in his career. So from that aspect, I'm not too surprised. I mean, by and large, I would argue that his body type at wide receiver is slowly starting to not be as impactful at the NFL level. I mean, you think of some of the best wide receivers in the league, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, guys like they're all 6'2" or under. And, you don't see a whole lot of that 6'4", 220 some odd pound receivers anymore. They're still there, right?
Sure.
Nico Collins is still balling out for the Texans. Mike Evans, when he's healthy, is very much still an elite player with the Buccaneers. But by and large, I was a little shocked to see it. But, I mean, you look at the kind of player he is, any organization would be happy to have him, I would assume.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take the over here as well. I think 2 guys will definitely go, and I agree with you. It'll either be Price or Fields, and I think Price's stock is higher than Fields. But you never know at the bottom of the draft what guys are looking for specifically, and maybe Malachi Fields fits, exactly what they want to do. I think, it's interesting that what you said about the Seahawks, that blows my mind all by itself. I think it's also interesting that, the Lions parted ways with David Montgomery. I think David Montgomery is kind of a decent comp for Jadarian Price as far as style of running, body type and things like that. Although the thing for me is I think 17 is a little high for Jadarian Price probably, and that's where the Lions are picking, if I'm not mistaken. Do they have a second? Do the Lions have a second pick? Or is 17 the only one they've got? I think 17 is the only one they've got.
I think you're right, but I think in the mock draft that I saw, they traded back. This is going to, I think, because of the state of this draft, I think you could see a lot of teams trading back.
I do too. That. Yeah, that's a good call. That's a really good call. You don't have the talent at the top of the draft, I think, like you normally do. And so I could see a lot of teams falling back, maybe getting some draft capital, things like that. Obviously the Lions got some draft capital out of the David Montgomery trade. Did I see, you're going to have to correct me if I'm wrong here, did I see that the Bears picked up Max Crosby officially today? Or was that just kind of a...
I think that's just speculation.
That was speculation? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I saw something about that, but I didn't see enough of it to make me feel like it actually took place.
Yeah, so, I mean... According to NBC Sports, the Bears are the betting favorites to land Max Crosby.
Okay. All right. Okay. I don't know where he's from originally. I know he went to Eastern Michigan as far as for college because the Eastern Michigan field is named after Max Crosby now because he just donated a bunch of money for it. But that would bring him back to the Midwest, which would be interesting. So I guess we'll see. They gave up what I saw, they were planning on giving up an awful lot. It was like the 26 first rounder, a second rounder from 27. Like it was a lot of stuff. So that would be an awful lot to give up, in my opinion. But I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see on that one.
Yeah, I think that would be an exceptionally strong pickup for the Bears.
I mean,
that would be, yeah.
He's really good. Don't get me wrong. He's really, really, really good. And that would make that defense that much scarier. That's for sure. No doubt.
Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of Malachi Fields, he was on the Up and Adams show today with Kay Adams. During the show, he told Kay that he will run the 40-yard dash at his pro day after running a 4.61 at the combine. Fields went on to say that he knows that he can get into the 4.5 range, and there are some tweaks that he can make to his start that will help. Is Malachi's 40 time a big deal, a little deal, or no deal at all?
This is going to sound like a cop-out answer, but unfortunately, it just kind of depends on what NFL GM you talk to. You have organizations like the Detroit Lions who have gone on record to say, hey, I don't really care about what somebody does at the combine. I can pop in the film and see what kind of football player they are.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have organizations like the Cincinnati Bengals who took John Ross when he broke the 40 time and forgot the fact that he was a fine wide receiver at the college level, right. I guess you could say. And so really, it just depends on who you talk to. Some of the combine, in my opinion, is just kind of playing the political game. Like if you ask me from a football standpoint, I don't think it's a big deal. When is any football player at that level going to run 40 yards dead straight in compression shorts and a tank top from a track start? Never.
Are you not a fan of the underwear Olympics, Trevor?
In the long list of things that I am a fan of, I'd be lying if I said the 40-yard dash at the NFL Combine.
It's fair.
Made the list. It's somewhere around like an orthodontist appointment, I guess. But look, man, do I think it's personally a big deal? No, I don't. But it's kind of one of those things where whatever numbers you put up, it's going to impress a certain demographic of NFL GM. So I don't think it's a big deal, but I don't think that it's no deal at all.
It's a little deal. I mean, he's only going to help himself at this point. I mean, he obviously put down a 4.61. It is what it is. I think he can do better than that. And that's only going to help him. You know what I mean? Yeah. It just helps his resume. I don't know that it's going to help him jump from one round to the next or, anything like that. I don't think that there's GM sitting there waiting for him to run a 4.58, like 0.03 of a second faster. And they're like, now he's our guy. Like, I don't see that being the case. But it's a box to check. You know what I mean? Hey, he's a receiver who runs in the 4.5s. You know what I mean? As opposed to being a receiver who runs in the 4.6s. It's a box to check. I don't know that it's a complete needle mover. But it's enough to say, hey, I'm going to get after it at the pro day, at Notre Dame to try to make that number better. I'm okay with that. The only thing he could do that would be negative is if for some reason he ran a slower time And then you're like, well, that's not great. Maybe you should have just gone with the 4.61 and called it a day. I don't know. It's a little deal. I'll say it's a little deal because it's a box to be checked on your resume.
I think that's fair. Yeah, I think that's extremely fair.
So let's jump into the world of politics, because why not? The Mississippi House of Representatives passed a no tax on NIL money bill, providing an advantage to schools like Ole Miss and Mississippi State. What does this say about the current state of NIL?
That I guess the ever-growing state of the Wild West is getting even more wild, I guess. I mean,
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but again, when something like this is able to go on and continue to go on with essentially no regulation, more stuff like this is going to happen. How does it work in Florida? Because I know Florida doesn't have an income tax, but is NIL being considered like income? Like, I don't know how that works. If I'm being,
I don't know how
stupid.
I don't know how you would differentiate what NIL is versus,
like being a W-2 employee. Like,
some other income.
Yeah, I don't know how that works. I mean, well, I guess I can always look it up. Is NIL taxable in Florida? Yeah. So, okay, well, that doesn't help me at all. Okay, well, basically,
fantastic.
Basically, I say all that to say I still don't know. But per this question in rapid fire, what does it tell me about the state of NIL? It means that it's going to continue getting crazier until there's some sort of regulation. How you do that, I'm not sure, because my concern is something like NIL is going to continue to get so big that it might just be like a self-sustaining type thing. I have no idea.
That's true. I mean, it's interesting to me because, let's say you've got an NFL player, for example, and he gets some endorsements and, whatnot. Does that mean that none of his endorsements are going to be taxed, as a professional athlete? Because that's technically NIL for a professional athlete, I don't know, man. It is.
According to producer Ty, all the Florida schools are putting out info to high school athletes that there's no income tax. So there you go. So,
I mean,
it's either not taxable or they're a bunch of liars, and I'm not really willing to go with the latter. So,
well, and there's other states, obviously, that also have no income tax, but they tax the crap out of you in other ways. So, I mean,
sure.
They get you coming, they get you going. I mean, it doesn't matter necessarily that there's no income tax in certain places because the sales tax is ridiculous or the whatever tax is ridiculous. You know what I mean? So, the government's going to get theirs. Okay. Doesn't matter how they get it. They'll get it. I just, this whole Mississippi thing, I just wish, politicians would worry about other things than like college athletics. Like, just don't worry about it. Like, it's not important.
The biggest issue that I have is when the judges' like internal biases come into play.
Yes.
I mean, the judge that ruled in the case for Trinidad Chambliss asked the kid for an autograph after the court hearing was over. And it's just
seriously?
Like, hey, look. Oh, yeah. And so it's just like, hey, guys, like, we got to figure out a way to make this as unbiased as humanly possible. We're all humans. We're all going to have our own biases, but we can't have people who are like active athletic directors on a playoff committee. We can't have judges who are active fans and donors of schools sitting in on court hearings to decide whether a kid should be allowed to come back from the professional league and play in college again. Like, it's just, I'm just not a fan.
I'm just not a fan of all of that as well. And, at times it's hard to turn off your bias, but that's what you're paid to do. You got to be a professional. And that is so unprofessional, what you just said about the judge asking him for his autograph. Like, that is crazy to me. Holy moly. Well, on that note, we're going to take a quick break. On the other side, we've got some more rapid fire to talk about. We got a little World Baseball Classic and more. So you are listening to Budweiser's Weekday Sports Beat along with IrishBreakdown.com. See you in a minute. Welcome back to Budweiser's Weekday Sports Beat along with IrishBreakdown.com. I am Vince D'Addario along with Trevor Trowbridge from Irish Breakdown. And we are right in the middle of rapid fire. And if you are just tuning in and you were expecting to hear either Jesse Stiers or Sean Stiers, the Stierses are busy. One is headed down to Atlanta for the ACC Women's Championship. And the other one is headed to the Cleveland Cavaliers for a coaching clinic. So you're stuck with me and Trevor, so I'll apologize for that. We got about 24 minutes to go. We will try to get you as much knowledge as we possibly can in that amount of time. And then also, of course, if you are interested in taking the Notre Dame football conversation to another level, you can check out Irish Breakdown on the YouTube side of things. They had a great conversation about linebackers and what that looks like going into spring ball. And you can also find that information on wherever you get your podcasts tomorrow morning, starting at 6 a.m., because that's when I set them to go off. So you can definitely check that out as well. If you don't want to look at their faces, which I can understand, Trevor and Brian, you can just listen to the beautiful sound of their voices on podcasts tomorrow morning. So everyone, thanks for hanging out with us. We really appreciate it. We have a few more questions to get to. And we'll try to get everything in here before we have to say adieu at 6:55. But with that being said, of course, Jesse made these questions. And so you knew that there was going to be an NBA question because that's just who Jesse is. I don't know how much of an NBA aficionado you are, Trevor. I know you dabble in the betting and I don't know if that travels over to the NBA side of things. Jesse's a degenerate gambler, so he bets on any sport that's out there, NBA being one of them.
Yeah, if I can bet on it, I watch it.
Okay,
so,
fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, the question at hand here is Jesse found an interesting stat the other night. So after Sunday night's game, the Atlanta Hawks of the NBA are 31-31 on the season. Okay, so they're 500. Good for them. Furthermore, they are 45-45 in their last 90 games. They're 67-67 in their last 134 games. They're 174-174 in their last 348 games. They're 210-210 in their last 420 games. They are 785-785 in their last 1,570 games. 1940-1940 in their last 3880, and 2895-2895 in their last 5790. So it's a lot of 500. That's blank to you.
It's consistency, baby. That's what I'm talking about.
They are consistently mediocre.
I was about to say that's insane. So basically, what? There's 82 games in an NBA season, and I'm assuming they consider, I don't know the history of Atlanta Hawks basketball, but I'm assuming that would have to include some sort of post-game experience or post-game or post-season games in there. So really, we're talking like what? Basically over the last 60 to 70 years, they're 500. Like that's
crazy.
That's nuts.
That's crazy.
I mean, good Lord, I did not know that. Did not know that. I guess if over-under win totals come out for them, that makes Vegas pretty easy to set what their line is going to be every single year. Like
true.
Over-under 41.5, I guess. Like, I mean, that's nuts.
I didn't even think about that until you brought it up. But like the big number that they gave at the very end, 5,790. So they're 500 through 5,790 games. That's 70 years worth of 82 game seasons. 70 years. Like, I don't even know when the Atlanta Hawks came around, but apparently it's within the last 70 years. That's crazy. And one of the I guess the local tie to the Atlanta Hawks is that Mike Bray is an assistant coach for them. So there's your local tie. And so he's doing a great job of keeping them right at the mediocre level at 500. So good job, Mike Bray.
Yeah, that is nuts. I mean, I know this year their season's been crazy. I think like Trae Young has played in like 10 games. He's supposed to be their franchise guy. And Jonathan Kuminga, he's only played in like 3 games this year. It's pretty crazy. But no, that's That is one of the more impressive sports stats
right?
that I've heard. And I love those random like sports numbers facts like that.
I want to know who actually had the time to sit down and figure that out, to be honest.
Well, I think now we know what Jesse was doing today.
Seriously.
When he was putting this together.
Seriously, there's no doubt about it. There must not have been anything going on at his regular job, and he was able to find out that information. So good for him. And now we know that the Atlanta Hawks are literally mediocre over the last like 65 plus years. So that's an interesting situation to be in. All right, let's flip it over to a little bit of baseball. So we're in spring training for Major League Baseball. And so things are starting to leak out for, the 32 ballparks, new things that they're adding, things of that nature. We get a lot of food items or ticket packages and things like that. So the Cardinals, the St. Louis Cardinals, are not a good baseball team right now. At least they haven't been for the last couple of years, and I don't think that's going to change this year. And so they need to put some butts in the seats. And so they're introducing a ticket package starting at $29 that includes bottomless soda or pop, as the case may be, hot dogs, chicken tenders, bratwurst, nachos, fries, popcorn, peanuts, chips, and ice cream. So, Trevor, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much does this deal intrigue you? And did they leave anything out on the list that you would want to get after? And I believe when I read about this earlier, you get your ticket to the game, and then for an additional $29, you get the bottomless, like, plethora of food here.
So all of that is bottomless.
Yeah. Yeah. Soda, hot dogs, chicken tenders, bratwurst, nachos, fries, popcorn, peanuts, chips, ice cream, bottomless, $29.
Look, man, I could do some damage on some chicken tenders.
Right?
Okay. Like, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, this body was not built by salad. Okay. So,
right? Yes.
I might be taking some trips to St. Louis because that is insane. And that's absolutely nuts.
Mr. John wants them to add beer. Well, if they added beer, that would, number one, the South Bend Cubs learned long ago that they can't do like dollar beer night because things got a little rowdy. Okay. It was not a good situation. So it probably would not go over well if they did that at a Major League Baseball stadium. And so everything on this list is under 21 friendly. So, which makes sense. But $29, you figure at ballpark prices, you couldn't even get one of every one of these items for $29. Like, there's no way.
No.
Like, you're spending $10 for the chicken tenders by themselves. Right? I mean, It would be $10 for the chicken tenders, another $5 for a soda, maybe another $8 for the popcorn. So you're up to $18, $23. So for another $5, you can get unlimited. Like, I don't know how you turn this down, to be honest with you.
I mean, I'm making plans to take road trips out there, so it's not even turning it down. I'm going out of my way to get it. I mean,
yeah,
that's a heck of a deal. I might actually be not for these purposes, but I actually might end up in St. Louis this weekend for a 1-year-old's birthday party, family friend. But, I mean, if there's something going on at the stadium, I have $29.
I don't think they'll be there just yet. I think they're still down where I think St. Louis goes to Florida. I think they go to Florida, so they're in the Grapefruit League. But yeah, I think this is a great deal. Obviously, I have 5 children, so there'll be 7 of us. We're not all getting the bottomless $29 deal, but 2 of us are, and we're sharing with everybody else. That's how that's going to go. I don't know how they would prevent that from happening, if I'm being honest. I don't know. Like, how would they prevent me from going to the concession stand 7 times to get 7 things of chicken tenders? You know what I mean? Like,
I guess I'm assuming that they're probably just banking on hoping people don't want to like miss the game. So they don't want to do all the running back and forth, I guess.
Yeah. That's a good point, I suppose.
I guess that's what they're banking on.
Yeah.
But you'd be testing the wrong one because for unlimited food, I'd be that guy.
Yeah, I would too.
So,
hey, we are the providers, okay? We have to provide for our family. I will be providing popcorn, chicken tenders, chips, and bratwursts for the family. And that includes sodas. So this is a great deal. And this will actually bring people to the ballpark. I will say this. St. Louis has fans that are good fans. Like they are baseball knowledgeable, like all of those things. It's what makes the Chicago-St. Louis rivalry a good one because you've got loyal fans in both markets. This will bring people to the ballpark. Like, I don't know that St. Louis had an issue bringing people to the ballpark, but if they did, this will fix that problem. It really will. $29 is a steal for all of that stuff.
yeah, that's insane.
It's awesome. That's all there is to it. It's awesome. All right. Still sticking with the baseball topic, the World Baseball Classic starts tomorrow with the United States opening pool play Thursday against Brazil in Houston, Texas. So Team USA landed in Pool B with Team Brazil, Team Great Britain, Team Italy, and Team Mexico. The top two teams from each pool will advance to the quarterfinals. The United States will start Logan Webb in game number 1, Tariq Skubal in game number 2, Paul Skeens in game 3, and rookie Nolan McLean in game number 4. With the Olympics just wrapping up a couple of weeks ago, how much does the World Baseball Classic fill that void for you, Trevor? First of all, I need to know are you an Olympics guy? Like, are you a Team USA guy, or could you care less?
Oh, I'm a Team USA guy. I said this on the afternoon show. The Winter Olympics outside of a handful of sports feels made up. But
okay, fair enough.
But I mean, I'll rep the red, white, and blue for it, though. You better believe it. I mean, look,
okay,
I might not know what's going on, but if we're winning, I'm on board.
Absolutely.
You know, I just like the competition aspect. But the Winter Olympics does not fill the void like the Summer Olympics does, kind of for that reason. Summer Olympics are the Olympic sports that I think of: track and field, swimming, gymnastics, basketball, things like that. Watching the skimo event where they're running up a hill with skis with grips on them and then taking them off and then running up a half a flight of stairs and then putting the skis back on to then run up the rest of the hill and then taking the grips off to then slide down the hill doesn't really do it for me the same way watching like Steph Curry on Team USA in the Summer Olympics does, but sports are sports. So
that's fair. Yeah, no, right. Yeah. As long as you got a rooting interest. So the World Baseball Classic is coming on the heels of the Winter Olympics. And, you know, you've got Team USA, which, by the way, is just absolutely freaking loaded with talent, as are some of the other teams, too. But Team USA is just loaded with talent. So I told you who the starting pitchers were going to be. Things start kicking off Thursday. Does this fill the void for you? Are you all in on the WBC? Are you a fan of the WBC?
Oh, I hope people don't dislike me for this, but baseball is just not really my cup of tea.
He's not a baseball guy. That was going to be my next question. Do you even like baseball in the first place?
I like it when I go in person, I guess, but
okay,
it's kind of the same way I feel about the NBA. There's so many games that, like, when I think of sports, it's something that I'm looking forward to. I'm getting riled up to go watch it. It's just really hard for me to follow a sport like that where I'm like, oh, baby, it's Tuesday. Let's ride. Like, that's tough for me. You know, whereas like football, it's like, hey, man, college football Saturdays, let's ride. You know, you get Sunday ticket on Sundays. You watch NFL all day. So I think that's a little, I mean, honestly, shoot, $29 for unlimited chicken tenders. I mean, I'll need that seventh inning stretch. But yes, for that deal, maybe. But by and large, I played baseball. And I was pretty decent. Once I started playing football and basketball, I just kind of fell by the wayside, unfortunately.
I got you. I'm a big fan of the WBC. I love watching. To be honest with you, it's more like it's fun to watch current teammates in Major League Baseball, you know, compete against each other with their country, and you know the red, white, and blue of the United States is always fun to root for. So I get excited about the WBC. It is hard sometimes to root for Aaron Judge, like guys like that, play for the Yankees. Like I can't stand the Yankees. And so, Aaron Judge is the captain of Team USA. And it's like, oh, it's a tough pill to swallow as a Cubs fan. But, it's Team USA all the way. Pete Crow Armstrong is on the team from the Cubs. So that's exciting. Watching to see what he's going to be able to do. The pitching staff for the USA is filthy. And so should be a lot of fun. I am fired up about the World Baseball Classic. It only comes around every few years. I'm glad that they still do it. I know there's been some pushback, injuries and things like that come into play, obviously. But I'm all in. If I could, obviously they're not going to play him up here because it's cold. They're going to be playing him in the South. They're going to be playing him in California, things like that. They're going to be playing him in domes. I get all of that. I understand it. I would love to go to a Team USA game. I think that would be absolute blast. I think that'd be a lot of fun. And so I'm all in. I will attempt to be watching. Of course, those games are probably going to be on, during the day. So I can't necessarily watch them until probably the quarterfinals, or the semifinals once they get out of pool play, like that kind of a thing. I'll be in. I'm ready for baseball to start. And this is a nice little teaser to get us into Major League Baseball. So I'm fired up for it. Go Team USA all day long. Let's roll on Team USA. So I'm all in on the WBC. An interesting tweet that I saw. So Scottie Pippen is auctioning off a bunch of items, a bunch of personal items, a bunch of, memorabilia, that kind of a thing. And he's doing it at Sotheby's, the big auction house, and it's supposed to last all month long. It started yesterday, obviously continues today. It goes, I think, through the end of March. One of the big ticket items is Michael Jordan's signed shoes from the 1992 Dream Team Olympics in Barcelona. So the shoes that he wore all the way through the Olympics. They won the gold medal. It's the Dream Team. It's the thing the dreams are made of. All of the things. He signed the heel of both shoes, and he gave them to Scottie Pippen. Now Scottie's selling them. They're expected to get anywhere from $1.5 to $2.5 million for a pair of shoes. The entire collection that he is selling is projected to get about $6 million. So all of that information, Trev, you can fill in the blank if you want to. You can just tell me your thoughts on it. What are your thoughts on this whole Scottie Pippen auction?
I think it's interesting. Does he need that money? I mean, maybe, I guess. I mean, I get it. If you're auctioning off that type of memorabilia and it's going to go for that much money, I get it to an extent. I mean, I don't know if there's anybody that would stick that. Well, I guess within reason. I'm sure there's some people out there that would stick their nose up at $6 million. I am not on that list of people. But yeah, I guess I get it to a degree. I know that like him and MJ kind of had a falling out, I guess, really over the years. And, this could just be kind of taking it to the next extreme, I suppose. But it's money. I mean, why do people collect some of that stuff? You know what I mean?
Let me ask you this. So if you had just unlimited money, all of a sudden you're Mark Zuckerberg or somebody with just unlimited funds, you can do whatever you want with it. Are you spending $2 million on a pair of tennis shoes signed by Michael Jordan?
Probably.
Is that a thing?
Look, man, if I had unlimited money like that, like to a degree, unlimited money, yeah, I would get those.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know what I would do with them. I wouldn't wear them.
Right. They're size 13s. I don't know what you're rocking, but I doubt that they're 13s.
Yeah, well, I wear 11 and a half, so I guess I can't really
put up a couple pair of extra socks. You'll be all right.
Yeah. I'll just wear a pair of really baggy pants so it doesn't look like I have clown feet, I suppose. There's some sports memorabilia that I think is really cool. Like my cousin's construction company did work on Notre Dame Stadium for the Campus Crossroads project.
Okay.
And so like I have like a chunk of the bleachers.
Okay.
So like that's probably something that I would never get rid of if it's something with sentimental value. I guess I would assume if one of my buddies was Michael Jordan and he gave me a pair of shoes he wore for the 92 Olympics, I would probably keep those until somebody's like, hey, like these might go for $3 million almost. Then I'd think about it, but I get it to an extent.
It's interesting if obviously the sentimental value piece is there. Obviously, if that means something to you, that's one thing. If somebody handed me a pair of shoes from the Barcelona Olympics and they were signed by Michael Jordan and he wore them and all of those different things, I'll be honest with you, within 24 hours, I'm finding out how much I can get for them. Like I would sell those in a heartbeat. I mean, now that's me sitting here right now in the financial situation that I'm in, where $2 million would be absolute life-changing money. I'm not somebody, I'm not Mark Zuckerberg, where $2 million is like the tax that you pay on something. You know what I mean? Like, that's not who I am. Now, if I had unlimited funds, I just don't know that I'm like a memorabilia kind of a guy. I just don't know that that is something that I've ever really thought about, to be honest with you. But when you're filthy rich and you've got all kinds of money, you can be that kind of a guy and fill your time with searching out sports memorabilia and things that are cool, and and have those kinds of things mounted on your wall in a random room in your house, because you have 20 rooms in your house, and one of them might as well be for the sports memorabilia that you spent millions of dollars on. Like, I guess that could be me. That's just never been me in the past, because I don't have unlimited funds and things of that nature.
Let me ask you this, Vince.
Okay. What do you got?
When we win the Hillsdale Golf Scramble on June 22nd, a Monday, up at Hillsdale College, how much will our golf clubs be auctioned off for? And will it sniff the pair of Michael Jordan shoes he wore in the Barcelona Olympics?
It will not sniff the $2 million, but I can tell you right now, I will be stealing the flag from the 18th green, and the four of us are going to sign it, and I'll get it framed, and I'll hang it up, and it'll be right back here on every show that I do if we happen to win that. The problem with the scramble is people cheat. All right, that's the problem. People cheat, and I don't know that we'll ever win, because we're honest fellas, and we actually have a lot to overcome from last year, going even. That's we got a long way to go.
Yeah.
But we could potentially get there. I'm feeling better about myself. I know the kid is feeling better about himself. I think you're feeling better about yourself. We got the ringer and the old man playing from the senior tees. That's clutch. So that is a secret weapon, because we were hitting balls all over the freaking place, and he just walks up to the senior tee and just pipes it right down the middle. We just couldn't do anything with our second shot. That was the biggest issue there. So anyway, we are about there. We're going to wrap things up here. Trevor, thanks for hanging out with me for the last hour. I appreciate it. So much better having you here. So much better than doing a solo show. So I appreciate you hanging out. You guys have a show tomorrow at 1:00, I take it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, awesome. So make sure you guys tune in for that. And obviously tune in for, we got a show tomorrow at 5:00. So tune in for that. You're listening to Budweiser's Weekday Sports Beat, along with IrishBreakdown.com.